Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find the leadership of our own.
Not your average nigga, I'm a god out the hood. They can't downplay me, I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. You know they see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we were slaves? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I was chosen by that man, you know y'all just been running game. The nerve of you acting like...
Leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find the leadership of our own.
Not your average nigga, I'm a god out the hood. They can't downplay me, I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. You know they see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we were slaves? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I was chosen by that man, you know y'all just been running game. The nerve of you acting like...
Peace, family. This is your brother, King Cam, and welcome back to Shifting the Culture podcast. Man, I certainly appreciate everybody for tuning in, family. I need everybody in the comment section to make sure that you are tapped into all of our channels on social media, making sure that you're following us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Shout out to the family that's checking in right now. If you're on Facebook, I need you to like and I need you to share. If you're on YouTube, I need you to hit that bell, stay notified each and every time that we drop an episode or we go live. And I need you to subscribe and I need you to comment as well. Shout out to the Twitter family. I need y'all on the retweet game. And for those who are watching all across the world, I want you to make sure that you hit the comment section. Let me know what city and state that you tuned in from, family. So again, back with another powerful episode tonight. We are going to be talking about tech. We're going to be talking about how you can actually break into the industry. I got a special guest who has a special skill set that's going to be giving us tips and tricks as well as going through his own personal story about the technology industry and how it's actually changing the game. So you already know, before we get started, you know, I guess I'll be coming on in a few minutes, but before we get started, you know that we got to go ahead and bless the viewers with our, with our musical selection that we always play. You know, we always got to drop some good music for the family. So lately, we've been playing that Golden Child Rebellious. And that's one of my favorite records that's out right now. That's one of my favorite records that's out right now, which is Golden Child Rebellious. So I've been playing the audio. First couple of times I played the audio, but then I said, man, I know the brother got a visual out. So what I want to do is continue to play the music video just so it can help you and us in just visualizing, what he's getting over in the music for sure. So let me get that up for us, family. And then we're going to go ahead and get into our show for the night, family. So go ahead, buckle your seatbelts because, man, this is going to be a good show tonight. All right? Hold on.
This is the eye of the trenches.
There can never really be justice on stolen land. Are you really for peace and equality? Or when my car is hooked up, no, you want to follow me. Your laws are minimal, because you won't even think about looking at the real criminal.
You know. Yes, sir. The victory belongs to the righteous. Our power is in our unity. Yeah. Look, when you see me coming, know it's serious. Am I really like that? Ask the trenches if you curious. I still laugh and know how to have a good time. Just gotta ask God to forgive us for how we get when we furious. Masculine, he, him, his. Yeah, I'm on that. Try to cancel me, you might get canceled. You should know that. No, I can't let them castrate me. No, sir, they won't pay me for my manhood. Keep it, we don't want that. U.S. soldiers come home and the people thank them for their service. If they knew how many lives we saved, they thank us for our service. Save some people's lives that might not ever know we saved them. Long as Allah pleased with how we out here working, then it's always worth it. Look, please don't get us confused. Yeah, we pushing peace, but we get busy, we get violent too. Got some brothers with the movement, but they ain't got all they screws. We just found the truth and we were Allah come against us and you bound to lose. Can't say I ain't warn you, can't say I ain't tell you. Come through with them ones, with the members called us failures. Grew up in the trenches,
they
but
turn
it
us
turned
into
us into
warriors.
Mama, I was born to
The
buck
system, I'm
I'm
rebellious for
sure. Look, they ask me, is this real or is this for the cameras? A lot of brothers say they for our people,
but really be scammers.
If all the work I put in was on camera,
would have that
answer. What I look like doing this for clout, look, I got high
standards.
standards. I don't need 100 soldiers
With me, I
with
got
me, I got
God
God with me. Still pull up deep to show
Brothers
brothers
unified
unified with me. Know some brothers ready
whatever
for whatever
that's gonna ride with me. Got some real dedicated members on the side with me.
Youngin' out his mind, off a pill,
think
he
he's
think he's
Superman.
Superman. Off a pill, he get way out his body, think he's Super Saiyan. He just trying to escape the pain for real, escape reality. Streets depressing, you can lose your mind and you can lose your head. Promise we been getting the trench together though for sure that, They trying to tell us what to do, respectfully we know that, Lot of commentary from them people on the sidelines. All that stuff they like to talk about, we really on that. So look, please don't get us confused. Yeah, we pushing peace, but we get busy, we get violent too. Got some brothers with the movement, but they ain't got all they screws. We just found the truth and we were Allah come against us and you bound to lose. Can't say I ain't warn you, can't say I ain't tell you. Come through with them ones, with the members called us failures. Grew up in the trenches, but it turned us into warriors. Mama, I was born to buck the system, I'm rebellious for sure.
Mama, I was born to buck the system, I'm rebellious for sure. Mama, I was born to buck the system, I'm rebellious for sure.
Hey, family.
Hi, I'm Zoe Gong. As a traditional Chinese medicine chef.
Hey, listen. Man, if y'all not turned up after hearing that, if y'all not ready to put the work in after that, I don't know what to tell you, family. Rebellious. Go check it out on all streaming platforms right now. You see I got my Unity hat on. So I'm all the way with the movement, man, and that's just the work. I love watching that video because it really taps into the trenches. It really taps into what we're doing in the unity movement and what's necessary for the streets. And I believe, man, it's really in sync with what we're doing with shifting the culture as well. So I believe the shifting the culture movement, the unity movement, it ties all into one so that we can help, man, change the condition of our people. So, you know what that is, man, the vibes. So now, what I want to do is I want to get right into the show tonight with our special guest. Got a brother that's going to be joining us. The brother is hailing out of Raleigh, North Carolina. So if I got North Carolina in the building tonight, I need you to tap in. The brother's hailing out of Raleigh, North Carolina. He is a tech recruiting leader. He's been a senior technical talent acquisition consultant and speaking all over the country. The brother done put in work. He's been a talent acquisition consultant for some major companies. All right. The brother is the president of Blacks in Technology, Bobby the Builder, aka Bobby McNeil. I gotta bring my brother on. Please bring him on with a warm round of applause for me.
My man, what's going on?
What's going on with you, brother?
Hey man, I'm doing well, man. How about you, bro?
Man, I'm doing good, brother. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. And I appreciate you for joining us here on Shifting the Culture podcast, taking time out of your busy schedule to have this conversation, bro. For sure.
Yeah, man, my pleasure, man. I've been following your work, man. So I've been, definitely wanted to, link in with you, man. So glad to be here.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. So right off the bat, bro, so I see you got the jersey in the background. What position you used to play? You was a hooper? What position you used to play?
Yeah, man. So here in North Carolina, I was a high school star.
Okay.
I went to Fuquay-Varina High School. So I played 4 years varsity there. I was a really good, high school basketball player here in the state. That's my college jersey back there. So I went to Barton College. They're Division
Wow.
II.
Okay.
Yeah, we played like non-conference, like the CIAA schools and things like that. So
Okay.
at the time, they were like one of the top D2 programs in the country. And
Okay.
yeah, that's my college jersey back there. My high school jersey is here, but we ain't gonna turn the cameras. But that's my
Okay, no doubt.
my college jersey right there. And then my senior year, we won the 2007 Division II National Championship. So you'll see the trophy there with the
Hey,
ball with the signatures. Yeah, so
no
yeah,
doubt.
I played high school. I was like a point forward, so I did everything.
Okay,
And I was
okay.
a star. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
But in college, I was more of a role player. In college, I was a two guard, so I was a shooting
Uh-huh.
guard.
Okay. No doubt. That's
Yeah.
what's up, bro. That's good background information for us to know. So my brother definitely was out there balling people up in North Carolina, bro. And that's and
Yeah.
look, you know what I'm saying? They got a lot of great players that hail out of the state of North Carolina. So that's not some little shoes to fill to be a baller out of NC for sure.
Oh, absolutely, man. This is a hoop state.
Yes, sir.
So,
That's
yeah,
a
no
fact.
doubt.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
fact. That's a fact, bro. So, yeah, bro. So we want to, man, get right into it. And, I kind of mentioned earlier in the introduction as to, some of your skill set as a technical talent acquisition consultant. But how did you transition into the tech industry? What did you go to college for? And did you transition into the tech industry? Did you go to school for technology background?
Yeah, my story is definitely a story of transitioning in, right?
Okay.
So when I went to, when I was younger, man, I had the hoop dream.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to play ball, man. I was trying to make it to the NBA, and I thought that that's going to be the way I make my impact. So,
Mm-hmm.
got a full academic and a full athletic scholarship. So that was a blessing in itself. My parents really valued like education
Yes,
and,
sir.
and faith, right? So that was kind of like the two pillars of what I was raised on. So, went to Barton College. I majored in business administration.
Mm.
So that was my major.
Okay.
And then when I got out of college, like I said, I was more of a role player in college. I didn't, turn pro or anything like that, obviously, as
Mm.
you can see. But I knew that I was going to make an impact no matter what. That was just my mindset. No matter what, I was going to make an impact. So whatever I was going to do, it was definitely going to, make a difference, I felt in the community and eventually the world.
Mm.
So I, went looking for jobs, just like most people do, right out of college, right? Back in that was like 2007. I'm kind of, dating myself. That was my senior year. But back
College?
then, yeah, I graduated
Okay.
from college in 2007. Yeah, that's the year we
Okay.
won the title. That was my senior year. So
Oh, no doubt.
came right out. There was like LinkedIn wasn't even really prominent like that. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And definitely like social media platforms and things like this really wasn't the wave.
Right.
So the way you did it is, you went on Career Builder, you went on Monster, and you applied for jobs. You went to staff agencies. That was how
Right.
you did it. So I went to a staffing agency, and then kind of like looking like, okay, what are my options? I got this degree, but not only was I a really good athlete, I was also a really good student, right?
Mm.
So I was a the quintessential like true pure student athlete.
Yes, sir.
So I went in. I was like, okay, I have these accolades. I've done these internships, etc. What do you all got for me?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, you should work here. I was like, okay. So it was a small staffing agency that was headquartered in downtown Raleigh, North Carolina, maybe about 15 minutes from me.
Mm-hmm.
And I started off in finance. I was I was a bill collector.
Oh, wow.
So
Oh, so it
yeah,
was
yeah. So
you calling people phones back in the
yeah,
day before they
yeah,
got
that was
AI
me.
calling people phone now.
There you go. Yeah. So I was a bill collector, but I was like a corporate bill collector, right?
Okay.
So it's the fancy term for it is accounts receivable, right?
Okay.
So it was my job to call all the clients that we had like employees at, contractors at, or we did some payroll services for. It was my job to call them, about the invoices. These invoices were like thousands of dollars,
Right.
6-figure invoices even, right?
Wow.
So it was my job to call them, and I'm talking like CFOs, I'm talking to CHROs, I'm talking to the C-suite, right? And I'm like, 21, 22 years old, right? So that's how I started. And so it wasn't anything, my major wasn't technical. My first job out of college was not technical. I did that for 2 years, right? So really what I was doing was calling all these executives, calling all these major companies, trying to reconcile payment, right?
Okay.
So that's how I started. I got bored with that. On the other end of the office, I saw all these recruiters, and they were like on the phones. They were like going out to meetings. They was talking to people. They was like, man, what is that?
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to go over there. They was like, oh, that's recruiting. I was like, okay, bet. I want to go over there. So I ended up making the transition over there. And then that's when I was like recruiting on everything. I was like, man, early in my career, I was recruiting for like store clerks. I was recruiting for, before Tech Recruiter, I was recruiting for store clerks. I was recruiting for kiosk workers at the mall in the holidays.
Wow.
I was recruiting like just business office people as well, and executive assistants. But we had a technical recruiting division, and the margins were higher. The business was more profitable, and it just seemed a lot more interesting. Right. So, and obviously the tech space in general is, it's profitable, it's lucrative, and it just seemed more exciting. So I made the transition there, but it didn't really quite work out like I wanted it to, because they wouldn't even let me on the phones at first. I was doing like admin work, right? But looking back on it, 15 years now in my career, looking back on it, I'm kind of glad they did that, because it gave me an opportunity to observe very keenly what the recruitment process was all about. And I remember the lady I was working under at the time. She was like, "Nope, you're not getting on the phones yet." And I'm like, "Why not?" Like, what I'm saying? Like, I play ball. I'm like, "Yo, put me in the game.
Put me in the game, coach." Yeah, I'm ready.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Put me in the game. But like, she just wanted me to sit there and just watch interviews and just listen. Right. So, and there was a reason for that. But ultimately, I made the transition over into the tech industry. First, I started off doing like engineering recruiting. And then like mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, civil engineers,
Oh, wow.
all of those different things, structural engineers, like the designers and things like that. There's a technical element to that, right? It might not be coding and programming and cybersecurity, but those men and women that do that role as well is technical in nature. So that kind of gave me some experience as far as like talking to technical minds each and every day.
Okay.
I wanted to, transition over to technical recruiting because I just love the industry. I love the business. I love the innovation, the ideas. It's always evolving. So what I had to do was pick up on how to recruit technical positions, which technical recruiting, if you ask any recruiter, is the hardest type of roles to recruit for, because the technology is always changing. And as the technology changes, the requirements change and the learning curve changes, right? So I remember, and every recruiter knows this, it's kind of like some apprehension of fear when trying to recruit technical roles, because it's just really tough. So I had to like really kind of fight through that. And I had to learn on the fly. And some of the things I did as far as learning, like I just got on the phone and just like listened to software engineers and cybersecurity people and help desk people just talk about what they do. And it was all repetition. And I started like picking up on commonalities that they were saying, like, front end, back end, full stack. Okay, this is software development. There's a difference. And I started taking notes, and I started looking at trends. So the more I listened to them, and the more I got to understand the partners I was working with, the more my knowledge base increased. And then from there, just shot up from there. So
let me ask you this. So when it comes to, because you're the second recruiter that I have actually interviewed, and the conversations with recruiters, are really, really good, because you all are actually the ones that are, responsible, not necessarily responsible, but you're the front line for, hiring new talent and, matching them with the right role, right? Finding the talent and the role that you all are trying to fill, you have to match that particular person. So the conversations that you all have, because of the perspective that you have, is really dope. So as a technical recruiter, you mentioned that you listen to software developers and cybersecurity people and others in the tech industry, and you kind of learn the commonality, the language, the the lingo, the jargon that they use, and from there you are now finding talent. What is it that you look for in the pool of talent that comes in that you said, aha, this is a person to match that role?
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. Like, as a, I think what makes a really great technical recruiter is that, you have to be conversational, have to be a good communicator. But you got to know technology at least at a surface level. So that was my goal, to know technology at a surface level. We're the first impression of the company, right? So a lot of times we're going to be, actually all the time, we're going to be the first person that candidates see as a potential entryway and pathway into the organization. So the key things I'm looking for, when I'm, looking at a resume or a profile is, number one, like, just basic requirements, right? And, I don't even, honestly, for me, I don't even look for people who fit all 7 or 8 of the requirements, right? Because that's a quick way to subconsciously weed people out that could still be a good fit. So I'm just looking for the degree requirement, I'm looking for the years of experience requirement, and I'm looking for the technical requirement, right?
Right.
So those are the main 3 things I'm looking for. I think, you don't have to, as a recruiter, you don't want to have this mindset of being, and I've said this before, of being a gatekeeper. You want to be a door opener. So if you got the minimum things, I'm going to talk to you. And then from there, I'm just looking at how you communicate. Can you talk passionately about the work that you've done? Can you verbally translate your value to the role? Right. And then it's incumbent upon me to line that up. It's incumbent upon me to know and spend time with my hiring manager on what he or she is looking for, from like, the soft skill standpoint, and really kind of make that match. And then it's onward from there. I have to walk the candidate through the process and really be an advocate for them, make sure they're prepared, make sure they have an overall great experience, because your tech recruiter is really going to be your best friend really in the entire process. So those are the key things I'm looking for: the minimum skills and how they can communicate, to the role.
So how important is the recruiter being an advocate for the talent as we go through that process? Because I recently just went through this, where I went through 4 interviews, and I pretty much was asking questions to the recruiter and to the managers. Hey, how am I looking? Each stage that I get into the next, oh, you looking great. You looking great. Is there any reason why you shouldn't move to the next stage? Boom, boom, boom. Just to get to the end, and then they not choose me for the particular role. So how important is the advocacy of the tech recruiter in the hiring process?
Yeah, absolutely. Your recruiter that you're working with is really like your agent. That's the person that is really, like I said, is going to be, should be guiding you through the process and keeping you informed about the pros and the cons. Right? Hey, here are the things you did really well. Here are the things that we want to work on so we can get you to that next step. So the advocacy piece is 100% important. If you're not opening pathways for your candidate, then what are you really doing as a recruiter? You know what I mean? So that's 100% totally important. Whether it's providing preparation material, like prep material for the interview, like, or even providing technical resources, where they can, work on their code or work on certain things before they get to the technical assessment. That's really the main key, is just really having that relationship with the recruiter, going throughout.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, bro. I was pretty tight about that. I'm not even gonna hold you, brother. And then I was real tight about that particular situation, especially when people have prepared very well, have communicated their soft skills over into the role, how they, how that works. They're able to speak passionately about the things that they've done and things of that nature, and for it not to work out for you, is a huge blow. So, what do you tell individuals who have had that happen to them, or, have been through that in the past? Like, what are some tips that you give them in order to overcome it?
Yeah, I mean, and it's happened to me before, I've been on the other side of it, where I've been a job seeker as well, and, went through the entire process only to get let down, because, the further and further you get along, the more hopeful you get. It's just natural as human beings.
Right.
What I try to do really, and I've had multiple instances where, I had maybe, a short list of candidates, maybe 2 or 3 candidates that were, got to the final interview, and there's only one opening. Somebody might get that opportunity, the other 2 may not.
Right.
So I think when I think about being a recruiter, I'm not just recruiting you for one position. I'm recruiting you in general, because I may have another opportunity for you later on, or I may have a network of recruiters who can use your skill set as well. So it's even about, it's all about as a recruiter, making sure you're maintaining that good relationship and that good rapport, even if it doesn't work out for that role. So that's one. Because we're trying to, if a good technical recruiter is not only trying to look at you for that role, they're just trying to look at you for opportunities in general, right? So you want to make sure that you get back with them as soon as possible. Be honest as well, and share with them so they can improve, so they can get better. Or sometimes it's not even anything that you need to improve. Sometimes it's just the luck of the draw. But also what I try to do as well is to be, because I am a subject matter expert on what's going on in the market.
Okay.
Right now, this year is the most challenging, most difficult market has been across the board, particularly in the tech industry. And it's no fault of the recruiters, no fault of the candidates. We're quite literally right now, if you think about, real estate, right? Sometimes it's a buyer's market, sometimes it's a seller's market. Right now, it's an employer's market. There was a time 2 years ago where it was more of a talent market, where when by the market, I mean, who has the leverage?
The leverage, right.
Exactly. And because there's been an immense amount of layoffs and a lot of outstanding talent has been put out here in the market, the talent pool is this big of highly qualified people, but the job opportunities maybe not so much. Right. I remember, and so now, like, you could quite literally put a posting out now as a recruiter and you'll get like 300, 400 applicants in a matter of hours. Wow. That's a prime indication that it's an employer's market where the supply of talent is out there, but the actual job opportunities are slim. One last thing I'll say, I've seen it in reverse, where there was a time where just 2-3 years ago, 2020, 2021, where you would put a posting up and no one would apply. Because because candidates were very secure in their roles. The world went remote, and so there's like, hey, I remember like being on like phone conversations with candidates. Like, I got an offer from TikTok, Microsoft, and I got an offer from Airbnb. What are you gonna offer, right?
Right.
It was that, so it's just a shift, right? So I try to make sure I maintain that relationship with candidates afterwards, because I want that. But also just educate them on the market as well. Let them know sometimes it's not what you did in the interview. Sometimes it's just the environment.
Right. And I'm glad you brought that up. That's an excellent point, because that's never actually been explained. And when you use the real estate aspect of it to, to help paint the picture, then people kind of definitely are able to really get a full visual of exactly what you're saying. Like you said, sometimes it's a buyer's market, sometimes it's a seller's market. For those who know about the stock market and things of that nature, if it's a bullish market or if it's a bear market, right? When to buy, when to hold, all of that kind of stuff. So I didn't know that pertained to to the industry, to the tech industry as well. And you mentioned something that's key, and I've had this conversation with other people that are in the tech industry. Like a couple of days ago, I actually got a brother. I introduced him into tech sales, introduced him to a boot camp, got him all the way through the process, all the way to getting the job and everything. And he's been working in his role for, I want to say, maybe close to a year now. And then, me and him was having a conversation a couple of days ago, and he was like, "Yes, a lot of people getting laid off around me, even though I'm hitting my numbers, hitting my goals, but it doesn't seem as secure as it was, a couple of months ago." So, he was asking me for some advice. So I'm coming to my tech recruiter friend and say, so what is some advice for those who are seeing all of the layoffs that are happening in the tech industry? Whether they were unfortunately laid off, or somebody who has a role, but they're seeing a lot of layoffs going around them, and you know how that go. So, what would be your advice to that?
Yeah, I think it's a conversation I think we definitely need to have a lot more of, and I'm glad we're having this conversation today. So,
Yes,
I've led and managed recruiting teams. I've So I've had like these conversations with like executives and things like that. But in particular, as to what's going on right now, you could get laid off and it not even be performance based. Some layoffs are performance based, but some layoffs are just more based on like economic factors that are not even associated, have nothing to do with your work in general, right? Like so, and then sometimes like I think what happened, here's my theory, and kind of my observable analysis, talking, to industry peers and people I look up to, when the world went remote, it kind of like, okay, we can hire a whole bunch of people because we don't have to worry about, putting them in the
A
office, and
building.
we can only hire a certain amount of people. Like, man, we got all this work. We can hire a whole bunch of people. We can have people working remotely in New York, North Carolina, Florida, Texas,
Right.
Georgia, California. So they just ended up hiring so many people, right? But as the world kind of changed, now, everybody's kind of least, you're going to see a lot of opportunities that are at least, 100% in the office or hybrid. There's still some remote roles out there, right? So because of that, kind of that shift, and then also a lot of the layoffs that's going on, what I always advise people to do is, you could very well, not get laid off, not because of anything of your doing, right? Sometimes it could be, but there's also a possibility it could not, right?
Okay.
Like they could have had enough work, a certain amount of work slated for this time. Like, oh man, we got this work going well into 2024. Things in the world happen politically, other economic things happen, inflation and things like that. So, there's like, certain aspects as far as the investments and things like that. So, okay, well, we're not projected to have this long-term thing, so we got to, cut resources. And unfortunately, one of the main things they do is they look at, I don't like this term, but like they use this term human capital. I don't like that term because people are people.
Right.
So that's one of the first places they go. So that's another reason. I would say how to navigate what would be some advice. If you're in a situation where you're searching right now, don't just stay siloed to one industry, right? I love the tech industry. I got my tech apparel, hoodie on, great. Love, I love the tech industry. But the tech industry is fabulous, it's wonderful. But if you're out here really trying to make a living, trying to really get your livelihood on, think about other industries that could be a little bit more risk adverse right now as far as what's going on in the job market. Like look at healthcare, look at finance, look at insurance companies, look at engineering companies, right? And all of these different industries still have tech roles. So you could still be a techie and not necessarily work in the tech industry. Right. Every bank needs some like has software, cryptocurrency, cybersecurity to protect assets. Engineering companies need engineers to build websites and to build the applications that the hardware engineers are going to go, develop and design. Insurance companies, everybody's going to like apps and digital ways to get get insurance claims. Like we need people to build those things as well. So look across different industries. Also look at different size companies too. It doesn't always have to be, a Fortune 10, Fortune 50 company. They're great. Love them. I've worked at a multitude of them. But there's a lot of experience that you can gain as well from a mid-sized company or even a tech startup or just a startup itself. Working at a startup, I've worked at a smaller company before. Sometimes you'll have a lot of more leeway to work on cross-functional projects or work on stretch projects that'll give you more experience that you can put on your resume that you didn't take to a bigger company if you want to use that as a launching pad. So those are the key things. I would say, definitely cast your net far and wide. But also understand that, you being laid off sometimes is no fault of your own. It's just a lot going on in the world right now, and everything is like a ripple effect.
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, that's really good advice. That's really good advice, brother. So we're gonna jump to a quick commercial, and then man, we're gonna get right back to you, brother Bobby. Man, we appreciate you. Hold fast, family.
All right.
For those who are just getting back, man, this is your brother King Cam, and this is Shifting the Culture Podcast, and we are here with my good brother Bobby McNeil, man, aka Bobby the Builder. My brother has been working in the technical consulting space for quite some time now. technical recruiter or technical talent acquisition, consulting, and man, really giving us a lot of good game today. As we talk about the different changes that are appearing in the tech industry, where the tech industry is moving as we see it now, and also his own story, how he was able to get into the tech industry and things like that. So I know before we stepped out, we were discussing the layoffs and the kind of what the environments look like. What is the landscape looking like right now in the tech space? I was able to get into tech through tech sales and, starting out as an SDR. And, that's kind of my level of expertise and where I kind of point people to as well. But then there's also the the more technical side, non-technical sales engineering, things like that. But then you have more technical side that's dealing with IT, help desk, some other things like that. So, 2 questions. You mentioned before, to look into other industries that, have tech roles associated with them. What does that exactly look like for those who may be watching? And then the second question is for the more technical roles in tech. What do you see the differences really between the non-technical sales roles versus the technical roles when it comes to job security?
Yeah, so I think that first off, I think like working in a non-technical role in a tech company, that's still you still work in the tech industry. Like everybody is not going to be doing, software development. Everybody's not going to be doing, cybersecurity. Everybody's not going to be a security analyst. So I think that's another piece of advice that I would give as well is that if you have those like fundamental skills, those business skills to do a tech sales role or even a project management role within a sales company or within a tech company, you work in tech. I'm a tech recruiter. My role is talent acquisition HR, but I work in tech, right? So I'm still in the tech industry. So I think the key thing really is the difference between maybe somebody who does like non-technical roles, does a non-technical role in the tech industry, and somebody who does a non-technical role in the non-tech industry. I think that the technology itself, I mean, it's always innovative, it's always growing, it's always something new. So I think, doing like a non-tech role in the tech industry, even though you're not developing it, you still are rubbing shoulders with the people who are developing the technology, and you're still kind of part of the evolution, so to speak, and you still are right there in front row seat into what's going on and kind of the pivotal changes that are happening, right? So I think also, if I'm being quite honest with you, a lot of those roles seem to be a little bit more lucrative as far as
Okay.
salaries and commissions and things like that because of the technology. The tech industry is like the tastemaker for the world. Whatever the tech industry does, every other industry follows suit, right? So I think that's the key difference. And because of that, there's being in a non-tech role or being in a sales role in the tech industry, you have exposure to that a lot sooner, just because of proximity, right?
Okay.
And even me, I mean, look at me as an example. Like the highest I've ever been paid, and I'm not saying this to brag or boast, but just to provide some perspective. I'm a high earning 6-figure tech recruiter. Not only because I put in 15 years, but I noticed a difference, once when I went from recruiting store clerks and kiosk workers, my salary was rather low, right? But then when I went up to like engineering and structural design and things like that, okay, my salary started to grow a little bit. But once I started doing like tech recruiting and getting embedded in that industry, just quite naturally, it's more lucrative, and that's why there's a lot of Black and brown people trying to make that transition into the tech industry because for us, it's like we put it in our own hands to minimize that wage gap, right? It puts us, and we don't necessarily become, might not necessarily become a millionaire overnight, but it puts us in a good fitting and a good position for us to feed our families and things like that. So I would say those are the big differences, man. Like, access to, innovation, it puts you in a position to, definitely be in the know about what's going on. And it's just a much more lucrative industry.
Man, and having this conversation with you and speaking with Shanae's recruiter cousin a couple of weeks ago, around tech recruiting. I never really had much insight into, what recruiting looked like, because even before I came across tech recruiting, I knew it as HR, right? Human resources, so those were the people that kind of handled the hiring. So it's just interesting to hear the perspective that you and Sister Shanae have, around, being able to find quality talent and actually working in that specific niche, and and bringing people in through that door. Because as I've had conversations with you and her and Cyrus, around more and more black and brown people coming into the tech industry and, having their lives change. And you mentioned another thing too about the millionaire piece. And I don't know, man, you might, because Gordon Ramsay, I don't know if you're familiar with Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah.
But if you
Yeah.
watch Gordon Ramsay, he'll tell you, I think he said on one show I was watching where he said the most millionaires are like teachers or, teachers and doctors and, just right people that work regular jobs, but obviously using his philosophy, the debt-free philosophy, and going through his program type of thing, is able to make millionaires. So, if you using that philosophy, I think you could, make your way to millionaire status quickly, being debt free for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yes,
For
sir.
sure.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So, so now I wanna kind of stay on the area of more people, more black and brown people in the tech industry. This is a space that a lot of us are still new to. Me and Cyrus had this conversation a lot because he talks about his journey. You probably familiar with his journey. Him being an Uber driver and kind of seeing a lot of Asians and a lot of Indians and Europeans, making a lot of money in these high rise condominiums that he was delivering food to. And he was trying to figure out, like, where were you guys working? And they were telling him in the tech industry. What are you seeing from your perspective as more and more of us get into the tech space? Because I have a couple of friends that are in the tech industry and working IT and stuff like that. But it's like nobody was saying, hey, y'all need to come get in IT. Like, you need to get in the tech industry. Like, bro, it was nobody like trying to put nobody on. And you've been in the game for almost 20 years. So could you just talk about, that whole mindset of, opening the doors for the tech industry, explaining what's all entailed and all of that kind of stuff, and, getting our people more involved?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I think, when I look at my career, man, I've been, I'm in year 15, you know what I'm saying? And I think what I've seen, just in my opinion, just like me looking around, me kind of being in the know and in the game about what's going on, I think we are like in this black tech renaissance right now, honestly.
Okay.
I've seen, and we still got more work to do. And, I'll touch on that here in a little bit. But I've never seen so many black people, whether they're a technologist in the tech industry or they're non-tech in the tech industry, just so much pride, so much belonging, and just so much affirmation of each other.
Mm.
You know, I definitely I haven't seen it that much until like the last few years. You know what I'm saying? Like the
Wow.
togetherness.
Yeah.
You know, and you think about it, like, we still got work to do, in regards to that. But I think, as we continue to work towards, increasing our representation of black people in the tech industry, I think it's still okay to kind of sometimes just kind of take a look and just like, okay, there are more of us here now than it was, back then. So we can, apply that, but not rest on our laurels because there's still more work to do. I think the reason that mindset is because, let's just like the tech industry in general, or just technology in general. I think I think a lot of times there's a lot of fear, right?
Mm.
In regards to, black people with technology, because if you look historically, we were always kind of the last to get technology.
Mm-hmm.
We were always the kind of the last to be up to date on the innovations in technology that were immediately affecting our community. So I think historically, as that's happened over time and repeatedly, I think Black people had kind of like a stigma to it, right? So when we were able to get in, it was kind of like almost this imposter syndrome, like I'm here.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, do I belong here? And then you put on top of that, like you don't see too many people
That look like you.
Right? So it's almost like a confidence thing. It's kind of like almost like an apprehension of some sorts, right? So, but we've done a lot of incredible work. Like if you look across the board, as far as HBCUs and even PWIs, there's more Black people, Black students enrolled in like computer science majors and software engineering majors more now than ever. Black people basically are the most enrolled out of like technical boot camps and things like that. So we have this population that's skilled, talented, and ready to go, but we still only make up 4% of the tech industry in the large, top 50, top 75 tech firms. Right. So only 4%. We went up 3%. We went up from 3% last year. So last year we were at 3%. Now we're at 4%. So we only went up a percentile. Even though you still see more of us, we still have work to do. And it's projected in the next 25 years, we're going to be at 9% at the trajectory that we're going. Right. So we'll still be under 10%.
Still be under 10%.
Right. At the rate that we're going. So there's still a lot of work to do. As far as like making sure that people have access to technical boot camps, but also have access to technology. How can I do my boot camp? How can I work on my coding if I don't have, broadband, I don't have Wi-Fi and things like that. So a lot of work we still got to do, but I do want to take a moment to like really acknowledge the work that we have done and as far as in the basically the link that we've gone so far. I think that's very important as well to acknowledge.
No, you're absolutely right. And like I was saying, because I have friends, that work in the tech industry, and you sit back and you see like, dang, bro got a nice crib, and you know what I'm saying. So what he got going on, and we kind of come to in this dispensation of time, whereas if you come across something, that's like that's something good. People utilize social media and say, hey, look, I got this opportunity. This is what I got going on. Let me try to help as many of our people get through the door. And, that wasn't the case when it comes to like tech. I know Cyrus was probably the first person that I came across that was actually talking about getting into how to get into the tech industry and giving you a roadmap. Most of the time when you talk to people that are in it, it's almost like, okay, well, go grab this certification and then, just take these certification classes at through Microsoft or AWS, and that's pretty much it. So could you speak to the blueprint, of getting into the tech industry? I know it's so many I know it's so many ways, right? But from your perspective, what is a good launching point for someone who may not have no experience, one that may have no experience in the tech industry coming from another industry? Because I've talked to nurses, I've talked to people that worked in finance, I've talked to teachers, everybody coming from another industry into tech, but then also somebody who may have a degree or in school right now for a computer science or some type of technology degree, a good launching point or blueprint to how they able to break into the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not going to try to be too long-winded, but that's a good question though. But I just got a lot to say.
No, that's good. That's good.
But I think first, what we don't talk about enough, and what I've seen is that you got to know, and this might sound a little corny, but you kind of got to know what your strengths are, know what your superpower is. You got to know what you do well, and I think a lot of times we try to follow other people's paths, but we don't try to blaze our own. Somebody else's path might have been for them to be, a cybersecurity analyst or like a Salesforce admin, but maybe you were meant to do, maybe do sales, right? So like understanding like what you're good at innately, what has God given you already that you can already perform at a high level at. You know what I'm saying? So what are your soft skills? There's a lot about like talk about soft skills, transferable skills. They're just business skills. What business skills do you already have? Like what gifts do you already have, and what business skills do you already have that can launch you into that direction? Right. So I think that's the first thing. You know, are you good at giving presentations? Are you good at, you know, problem solving, structural problem solving? Are you good at, you know, leadership? Are you good, you know, at these different things? I think that's important, right? So taking that foundation and then getting certifications and taking boot camps that make sense, bro. Like I see a lot of resumes, a lot of times people just they got a litany of certifications. And I look at their resume and I talk to them, they haven't really thought about like exactly why they're getting them, right? Because these certifications, some of them cost money,
They
right?
do.
So
Yeah, they
right.
do.
So I think it's important to do the discovery beforehand so you can set a strategic path on what certifications and boot camps you need to take versus just blindly taking them and then like you just spent, you know, thousands of dollars and you don't even want to do that, right? So I think that's that, right? So knowing what you already innately are good at, knowing what your superpower is. I know that's kind of corny, but it's true. But then, you know, taking education paths that make sense and long term going to the direction you want to go. Also, another thing as well is networking. Like networking, definitely, you know, networking not only upward, but networking across. You know, a lot of times what I mean by that is that, you know, searching for a mentor is great. I have a mentor. Searching for a sponsor, those things are great. People that can, somebody of some sort of authority or influence that can advocate for you in a room that you're not in. But also networking across, you know, networking amongst peers, you know, or finding advocates. You know, what an advocate is basically somebody who's your peer, somebody who's at kind of the same level you are in your career that may be in rooms that you're not quite in yet, but when they're in that room, they can talk to the people about your character and what you can do. And I think a lot of times we see more value in networking up, which is important, but sometimes networking across as well is important as well. Some of the biggest blessings I got this year was because people advocated for me. They were peers, you know, that advocated for me. You know, like you mentioned, you know, recruiter cousin, she's a good friend of mine. You know, I was on, you know, Cyrus's show, you know, so, you know, what the work he's doing is tremendous. And, you know, even what you're doing is highlighting these things so people know that there are people out here that look just like you and I who are successfully doing it and trying to reach out to people and bring people up too. So I think the networking piece is important, knowing what you can do and then set a strategic path for the type of education you need to get, but then also making sure you're utilizing all your network and your circle as well. So those would be the main three things I would say. And just be real, set realistic expectations too, you know, because your first role, and I'll say this and I'll wrap up, your first role transitioning in to the tech world might not be the role you want, but it could set you up for the role you want to have. For instance, like once I became a tech recruiter, then I wasn't on no phone calls. I wasn't talking to any candidates. You know, I was like an admin. I was just like posting jobs. I was writing up, you know, interview guides. You know, I was, you know, doing all of that, taking postings down, all of that. I wasn't in the trenches, you know, but I had to do that role. And then I got into the role that I ultimately wanted. And then it was just up from there. So just being realistic as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, that's good game. That's good game to give, because I think what I find most for with a lot of people when I'm talking to them about the tech industry is that they don't necessarily know exactly what they want to do in it, because there's a lot in the industry. You have finance, you have medical, you have cybersecurity, you have product management, you have project management, you have recruiting. So like you said, finding your superpower, your niche, you know, what is it that you exactly want to do? And then when you find that part out, then you can start to build the process or the pathway or the blueprint in which you can start to obtain your goal. I think a lot of people just blindly take certifications that have some type of technical experience or something that reads technical on their resume. However, that doesn't guarantee you a job. You know, what are your thoughts on the whole certifications versus non-certifications conversation? I know that's something that goes on a lot in the tech industry, and you know, within the last year and a half, that I've been in, a lot more people are really telling you, certifications are good. It's kind of on the person though. It's kind of case by case scenario. So what are your thoughts as it pertains to certifications, no certifications?
Yeah, and I think that's good. It really does depend on the person because a certification doesn't guarantee you a job. Like nothing in life is guaranteed. You know what I mean? What a certification does, or what education does, period, it just shows that you understand the theory in a really good way, right? So a lot of times, it's going to take some practical application along with that as well. And sometimes you can get that during the certification. Like there's two types of certifications. There's certifications where you just learn the theory, you get a certification, great. And then there's another certification, another type of certification where you do the theory, but in order to get the certification, you got to put the theory into practice.
Right.
And it's the practice part that's important, right? And I think a lot of times people get disappointed. It's like, oh, look, I got this certification. And it's like, okay, great, but I need some examples of how you applied the theory of that, right? Because the practical application is what sets you apart, So I think certifications are fantastic. I think even if you're transitioning or if you're looking to just like, gain more knowledge, it shows a recruiter like me, it shows a hiring manager that, you took the opportunity to educate yourself and to learn new things. Now it's like, okay, let's talk about how we apply it, right? And like I said, sometimes you get that application of that practical application through the actual certification, right? And then in others you don't. So my theory is it's great, but I think the application is what's going to really be key.
Okay. So let's transition over to actually applying for some roles. And this is this thing out here about these resumes and the machine or the AI, the technology that reads the resume for particular keywords. So a lot of people are saying you have to tailor your resume for that specific role so that the AI, the technology, when it reads it, it allows it to go through or approves it so that it now reaches a person like you. So now can start the process on the recruiting. So how big is your resume when it comes to tech roles?
The resume is very important. Very important. I'll say, right, there are some developments going on and some tools, some AI tools that's out there that are implemented to kind of screen, but they're not very prominent yet.
Okay.
Like I'll tell you from my experience, and even some of my other recruiter friends, we going through and looking at the resumes ourselves. So chances are, on the balances of probability, it's probably a human being looking at your resume.
Okay.
There's some AI tools out there, but they haven't been implemented,
adopted by the masses of
exactly.
companies.
Man, I have like some of my recruiter friends, man, even myself, like had to like go through like hundreds of resumes in a day. So chances are there's a human being going through your resume. Okay. What filters you out is when those pre-qualifying questions that when you apply for a position, they ask you, are you at least 18 years of age? Would you now in the future require sponsorship for U.S. employment eligibility? And then the other ones, do you have 5 years experience in IT project management? Do you have 2 years of experience in Salesforce? Like those are the things. And depending on how you answer those, then you might get filtered out.
So I'm glad. So I'm glad we on this subject because I got a problem with some of those requirements. I look at some of the requirements that they have for some of these tech roles, and I have a real big issue with a lot of the requirements because you go to let's just take sales because this is where I'm at in the sales aspect, right? You have a lot of these account executive positions, and the requirements for some of these account executive positions are they want you to have 4 to 5 years in sales or 4 to 5, 6 years working as an account executive. And to the person that's looking for this role, now you do have some people who work at a position and may leave that particular company and go apply for the same position at another company. But majority of people are looking to grow, scale up. So if I've been in account executive for 5 or 6 years, I'm probably not going to apply for an account executive position at another company. More than likely, it happens, but I'm just saying more than likely. Most people that are applying for that position are SDRs who have either cross-trained as account executives and AEs or have been an SDR for 2 years. You know, some companies have SDR, then they have like senior SDR and things of that nature. So they worked in that particular role, and then the next career path for the next move up would be account executive. But that person is now disqualified from that particular role because that role is requiring you to have worked as an AE for 4 to 5 years. And it's like, but I've cross-trained as an AE. I've closed deals. I've led sales calls. So, you know, when it comes from that aspect, you know, are you seeing where some of these requirements need to be tailored, need to kind of be fixed, or, you know, or is this something that I'm looking at from a wrong viewpoint?
No, it's twofold. I think there are going to be, nothing's perfect, right? So there are going to be bad job descriptions out there. There are going to be things out there. It's like, yeah, this needs to be tailored. I see them all the time, right? I had this conversation as well at a tech conference I was at with somebody. I was speaking, and they had a question. It was like, I applied for this position, and they were looking for somebody who had 7+ years of experience.
I've seen
but
that.
I only got 4 years of experience. So like, why are these requirements the way they are? Here's why. I'll tell you why. Like, as somebody who's been like a recruiting leader, it's like managed recruiters got to work with the C-suite on talent management and strategy and things like that. Behind the scenes, the reason why that person was looking for 7+ years of experience is because he already had a very junior level team, right? So he was trying to add somebody, an additional person on the team who had a certain kind of experience, so the other senior level person wouldn't get bogged down with like the mentorship and supervision of the less experienced members of the team. So he wanted somebody else that had a specific type of experience and a specific years of experience, so he could help that other person kind of balance out their workload. So a lot of times there's rhymes and reasons why they're looking for somebody for a specific thing is because you look at their team. It's like, okay, we got, we got this person's, talent team here, and we look at, okay, where are the gaps? Where are we missing? Okay, we maybe need to add somebody with some more years of experience on our team, or we need to add somebody more junior level who's more of a generalist, right? It could very well be because when they look at their team, it's like, okay, I'm looking at my org chart, and I'm sitting here with Bobby the Builder, or looking at my org chart when we planning for these roles. Okay, I got people on the team. I got generalists here. I got generalists here. This generalist has 2 years of experience. This generalist has 1 year experience. These generalists right here, I got 4 generalists right here. Wow, they have 3 years of experience. But then I got this one person over here that's a subject matter expert. And he has 10 years of experience, and he's a principal level, he's a senior level, and he's working all these key projects, he design reviews, etc., managing client relationships. But then on top of that, he got to mentor and review all their work. So when I'm looking at, like, okay, so you don't want to stretch that person too thin. So what do we need to do? Okay, let's hire somebody who has 7 years of experience. That way they'll be considered senior level, but also somebody who has a specific type of experience, because I might need them to do this over here. And they probably don't want another generalist with 4 years of experience because their team is already loaded with that.
Right.
So for that person that's in that role to help them grow in their career, let me bring somebody else in that can kind of take some of their workload, free them up, and then we can get that person some supervision chops. Now they can rise to another level. So sometimes it's a whole bunch of reasons behind why that is. Now there are some bad job descriptions out there, and there's some things that need to be tweaked. But a lot of times when you're looking at it from a management leadership perspective and a strategy perspective,
right?
Because I've been a manager for global teams. That's the reason why sometimes you'll see a posting that has a specific type of experience and specific type of years of experience, because they're trying to probably balance out the experience types and the experience levels on their team.
Right. That makes sense. No, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense now from the management leadership perspective. I'm trying to add some balance to the team. I'm trying to kind of, delegate the workflow. I mean, some of the workload, which is extremely important because, like you said, if you got more general people, more generous type people on the team, or a less senior team, and you only have a very small number of senior people, then a lot of the mentorship, the leadership guidance, a lot of the, the non-technical stuff has on their plate along with the technical stuff, along with the job stuff, but you got the coaching and all of that kind of stuff that goes along with helping less senior people. So in order to help bring balance, I can see why you would want to bring somebody on the team that you don't have to do that with, that could actually help you out versus you bringing somebody on that you're going to have to help out. So I definitely agree with that. So, man, family, this is a really, really dope conversation, man. We're here with my man, Bobby McNeil, and we are going to slide to another quick commercial break, and then we're going to bring our brother back so that we can, close this out right, family. So, man, just stay with us. This is Shifting the Culture. I am your brother, King Cam. Greetings. You may have seen my video on YouTube where I talk about my tech journey and how I was able to take $100 and turn it into $85K. The way I was able to do that was jumping into the tech industry, breaking through that door, and getting in on an entry level through a tech boot camp by the name of Course Careers. Number one, the reason why I took Course Careers was because of the price. Course Careers is extremely affordable. It is only $500. And if you utilize my discount code, it can take $50 off and it'll actually be $450. But even better, they have a payment plan for those of us who wasn't able to pay $450 up front, because I couldn't even pay $450 up front. That's how bad your brother was. So I wasn't able to pay $450 up front, but they have a payment plan option that allows you to put $100 down and you're able to get access to the course. The number two reason why I got into Course Careers was because of all of the testimonials. The third reason why I took Course Careers was because of the free introductory course. Troy did an excellent, phenomenal job in the free introductory course that gave you an outline of what you will be learning in Course Careers, and also went through his own personal story, his own personal struggles, and how tech sales changed his life and why it will be able to change your life as well. So if you're interested in taking Course Careers, I'm going to put my discount code up and available so you can get $50 off. If you click the link below, you're going to be able to start your Course Careers journey, get $50 off, and then what I want you to do is refer a friend, because once this changes your life, why would you keep it to yourself? You need to let somebody else know. So again, click the link in the bio, click the link below. And when you click the link below, I thought it was on Instagram. When you click the link below, then you'll be able to start your tech journey, get to this tech bag, and don't forget the discount code that's going to take $50 off. Don't hesitate, family. Don't waste no more time. Get into Course Careers right now. Click the link below. Let's get started. And then feel free to reach out to me. I want to help as many people as possible, especially people in my community. So click the link below again. Let's get started. Get the $50 off. Let's get to the bag. All right, family. This is your brother, King Cam. Welcome back to Shifting the Culture Podcast. And we are here with my man, Bobby, the Builder, a.k.a. Bobby McNeil. Now, listen, bro. I know you've been traveling the country, speaking at a bunch of different tech events. Man, earlier in this conversation, we talked about your journey into tech. How you was balling all of them scrubs up in North Carolina. Well, they weren't scrubs, but you was doing your thing. You got into the tech industry. You, started out actually in accounts receivable, then moved over into recruiting, built your way up, now shifted into tech recruiter as a consulting, talent acquisition, and things of that nature, bro. So now we are, we are at a point now where we want to, shift the conversation to the next level. Mm-hmm. So what I want to talk about now is within the next, let's say 2-3 years, where do you see the industry moving in the next 2 to 3 years?
The tech industry?
Yes, the tech industry.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be a lot more, and I'm kind of seeing it already. I think there's going to be a lot more things coming out about AI. I think when you look at, what the top jobs are going to be, AI, It's going to be as they continue to develop new things. I think AI is going to be a thing. I think cybersecurity is going to be a top job, and I also think anything revolving data security or data analytics. I think it's going to be like the top 3, tech jobs. The reason I say cybersecurity is because cybercrime is the number 1 crime in the world right now.
Number 1, that's a fact.
Number 1, it's not like, getting hit in the alley or somebody breaking in your house. Those things can happen. But the number 1 crime is cybercrime, right?
That's right.
And making sure that, people's personal information is not, in malicious hands, right?
Yes,
I think I saw a data point. I think they said it was about 64. I think it was and I think it was about 64,000. There was 64,000 cybersecurity jobs created in the U.S. this year alone. Cybersecurity related roles. That meaning you selling cybersecurity, leading cybersecurity teams, enterprise cybersecurity, or you doing the penetration testing and things like that.
Right.
So, and I think that's going to continue to grow. AI for obvious reasons. I think those who are going to learn it. I think there's going to be some impacts on some roles, yes, but I think what it's going to do, AI is going to eliminate a lot of tasks for people, even entrepreneurs that were once very tactical and very manual. I think there's going to help automate and increase some proficiencies, increase some efficiency. So I think anything you're doing with like AI development, machine learning as well, that's another one. I think those are going to continue to be big in the next few years as far as job opportunities. Anything involving data, the integrity of data, protection of data is going to be key. I think that's going to be good. Software development is always going to be there. But I think those other 3 are going to be the top 3. I think that we're going to start seeing, like, as things grow and new tech startups start coming up, I think you're going to start seeing like more like metro tech hubs across the US. Like we have tech hubs already. Raleigh-Durham is a tech hub. Research Triangle Park is like right down the street from me. It's just Research Triangle Park is like acres of land. It's just tech companies. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So
Okay.
I think we have every tech company here except AWS. And they were actually going to put one of their headquarters here, but they decided to go in Arlington. So you're going to start seeing that. You're going to start seeing little micro tech hubs. I think you're going to start seeing that. But from a job market standpoint, I think you're going to see those 3 types of jobs be very, very prominent. I want to say one thing about like AI, right? And kind of like, just in kind of like being in the game, being a tech recruiter, but also like I mentioned it before, having to stay on top of technology and where it's going.
Right.
I want us to not forget that AI has been with us for a very long time. AI is not something that was just developed like last year. I think the initial launch of AI as an official field was like in the 1950s.
Wow.
Right.
Now that is news right there.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know it was that old. I'm thinking, like maybe 80s, 90s. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know 50s.
Yeah, I think the year was 1956. So one of the things as well, I'm on the board of advisors for the North Carolina Technology Association, and I get different reports and things like that. Yeah, and then also being the chapter president for Blacks in Technology here in Raleigh-Durham, I got to stay on top of this stuff because it helps me be a better recruiter and it helps me kind of help people out when I'm coaching them and things like that. But AI has been around. It wasn't something that was just developed the summer last year and when everybody just went ham. No.
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence as a field, I think 1956 was the initial launch of it, but it was definitely the 1950s. Here, what happened lately, they just opened it up. They just busted it wide open.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So machine learning has been with us. Machine learning and AI kind of cousins to a sense, but they kind of been with us, right? Like anytime you use your smartphone, you use your GPS system. Have you ever gotten in your car and you make a right and then you make a left, and then they start making a recommendation about you going to church, but you're really going to the grocery store? It's because the technology learned your behavior, right? Alexa, all of this stuff. Hope my Alexa don't go off. Hold on.
Right. Before
You know what I mean?
you gotta
Yeah.
you gotta buffer it. Hold on, Alexa. I'm not really talking to you. Hold on.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking to Cam, but like I just want people to know that like AI has been around for a while, and I know it's just been a lot of fear mongering, a lot of conversation about it, but it's been around as longer than your parents probably have been around. It's just the technology continues to evolve, and they just open it up now.
Well, yeah,
So
it was a
yeah,
lot of hints and references to it, and in iRobot. I remember in the movie, it was this Disney movie, and it was something called something house, Smart House. That was the name of the movie. And in that movie, the house was AI. Like the house was AI. You could talk to the house, and it would vacuum up. It would clean up the house, so the children had to clean up because the house would clean up, and it would do all these different things. And then even when you look at the Jetsons, the cartoon, the Jetsons, bro, like they had AI and robot. This is in when we were growing up, we were watching the Jetsons and the cars is flying, and they got robots cleaning up and all of that kind of stuff. So it's so many references to AI, from such a long time ago. Yeah, it is like you said, it's just now being all the way opened up to the masses, where it's been a lot of different conversations around AI.
yeah. Like even with ChatGPT, here's another thing. Like ChatGPT, it's AI, but ChatGPT it's a language model. It's not a truth model. What I mean by that is that it's language processing. So if you put something in ChatGPT, I mean, I was using ChatGPT today. I use ChatGPT every day. I love it. But I think a lot of times, what it spits back, it's a language model. It's not a truth model. You still like, even like when people like kind of using it for their resumes or using it for documents and things like that, you still have
Right.
to take that and you still have to make it your own.
Right.
You still have to, so like, and I thought, and people have gotten a lot better with their mindset around that, but it's a language model. It's not a truth model. Depending on what you put in is what it's going to put out.
Right.
So that, so just to kind of, talk about that as well. I felt compelled to kind of talk about AI a little bit because I know there was a big, conversation this year. So,
Well, yeah, and then let's just talk about this aspect of AI as well, because you have now what I was just watching this thing on the news where they had they was talking about how AI is able to model the voices of different artists, right? And then how people are making records. They've even made artificial intelligent artists that they were going to sign to a deal. Like a record label was really about to sign an avatar as a rapper. So these type of things that are taking place when it comes to AI, where are your thoughts when it comes to that type of stuff, where the machine is actually able to take Drake's voice and Jay-Z voice and actually put it on a record together, like, and create a song, and then it's out. How are artists able to protect their art, right? And then what are your perspective on those type of things?
yeah, just like anything else, like any new innovation in our history, there's going to have to be controls. There's going to have to be policies. Like we have gun laws. Because things can get crazy with those. As we've seen in our society, right?
Yes, sir.
We have regulations on what goes in our food and things like that. So I think there's definitely going to have to be some governance around AI. I think there's going to definitely have to be some policies in play to protect artists, protect businesses, protect communities, right? Because I could use a pen, right? Like a pen is an innovation, and a pen is used to write, and things like that, but it can also be used as a weapon, right?
Yeah.
So we have to be careful about, is it the innovation itself, or is it
The people that use it.
exactly?
That's true.
So, and I know there's conversations, having in the government. I know there's a brother that I know that's here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Blacks in Technology did a partnership with them at this data company. He's up there in DC all the time, just keeping politicians honest and putting those policies in play. So just like everything else that we've ever created or invented as a people, as our society has gone from the industrial age to the digital age,
Right.
there definitely have to be some policies around it. And I think like even for like businesses and companies, I don't think like for a lot of, I'm hopeful that for a lot of these roles, it's just we have to learn what it is and how we can use it for us. Like for instance, and I hope I'm not going too long, Cam. I just love
No,
this
you
conversation.
good. No, you good, bro. You
Yeah,
good.
like I was at I was speaking at a conference, and I was talking to some people. It's like, hey, you're a tech recruiter. What do you think about AI? And there was some other engineers in the room and things like that. And there was a lot of great points that were made. And one of the great points, it was like this real estate, this couple, they were like, black owned business real estate. They had like, commercial properties and things like that. And they were talking about like how AI, what if AI goes and does the tours for us, right? Virtually. And we're not able to go. But the key thing they need that they were encouraged to think about, and I encouraged them to think about as well. Yeah, but AI can't feel if a client likes the house or not.
Right.
AI can't feel if like can't pick up on doesn't have the emotional intelligence a human does.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we use AI for this part of our process and then we come in.
Right.
So I think it's really trying to finding ways and just really thinking creatively about if you're an entrepreneur, business owner, even your corporation, or even even I'm doing it as a tech recruiter, how I'm using ChatGPT and AI to help me be more efficient as a recruiter. So I think those are the things we need to think about, moving forward with that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And and then lastly, bro, could you talk about your work as the president of Blacks in Technology and how it's
Absolutely.
impacting in North Carolina and
all
over the world?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So Blacks in Technology, I mean, we're the largest Black tech community of its kind. We have 82 chapters in 20 countries.
Wow.
So we're global. Yeah,
That's
82
dope.
chapters in 20 countries. So just here in the United States, in every major city, there's a Blacks in Technology chapter. And we're all about increasing the representation of Black people in the tech industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as I mentioned before, I threw that stat out. We're at 4% as far as like all tech workers in the big Fortune 500 tech companies, right?
Right.
So we're all about stomping the divide, right? So we do that through providing technical resources to our members and to the community, whether it's boot camps, certifications, courses. And, we partner with, the creme de la creme with that, Linux Foundation, CompTIA, AWS, Google,
Okay.
all of these different, companies, and also non-tech, roles as well, as far as somebody wants to get in tech sales, which we talked about, product management as well. And so we want to make sure that members have that access to that education, and membership is free. So you don't have to pay a fee. And the important thing is that, membership is free, but you also get all of these certifications and boot camps to little to no cost.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
We're trying to eliminate the financial barrier too, which has also been a barrier for Black people entering into tech as well. The financial barrier.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
we're eliminating that. And then also just in Raleigh, Durham, I mean, we just this year we've had an amazing year. We have close to 700 members. Just here in the Raleigh Durham area. We have our own conference called BitCon. It's actually going to be in Atlanta, Georgia next year in September.
Hey, that's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
I'm
So
trying to pull up then.
Pull up, man. Pull up. It's going to
Yeah.
be big, man. It's going to be bigger than it was this year. This past year was in Nashville, Tennessee. Last year it was in Disney World. This year we're going to be in the ATL. We're going to be in Black Hollywood,
Yeah, that's
and
what's up.
we're going to be up there. Yeah. So we won the Impact Award this year, our chapter, the Raleigh Durham chapter. Again, 82 chapters in 20 countries. Only 4 chapters globally took home an award, and we were one of them. So, we got the most impactful chapter. So with that, membership is free. We partner with all these different companies to try to help them with their diversity recruiting efforts. So like, hey, if you have Black tech talent that you're looking for, we got it. We have it right here. They're skilled, they're trained. They work at all these different tech companies. Some of them are trying to transition in. So what we try to do intentionally is partner with these companies to make sure they're intentional and purposeful about hiring Black tech talent. Do we have a job board? Yes. Do we have a Slack channel? Yes. But you need to be intentional and meet people where they are when it comes to finding Black tech talent. So we try to curate events with these companies, so we can have a tech talk, but also make sure their talent acquisition team is in the room as well. couple other things as well. I don't want to be too long-winded, but a couple other things. We want to make sure that people have access to technology. So we also do a lot of work as far as like broadband initiatives, making sure Black people have access to Wi-Fi. Make sure Black churches in certain areas across the U.S. have access to technology as well. We all know that that institution always been a beacon of the community as well. So we want to make sure that we
Absolutely.
focus on we want to make sure we focus on community efforts and make sure that as well that we tackle topics culturally that our people care about. So that's Blacks in Technology.
Yes, sir. Nah, brother, man, that's really good information to know, especially on that piece about the making sure Black people have access to technology. I was speaking with another brother. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but we've been communicating via Instagram, and one of his things is that he is connected in the grants space, and what he does is he gets grants for programs and has programs that is directly tailored to Blacks and Black youth having access to technology. So he actually is being provided like tablets and mobile devices and things like this with the VR and the AR aspect attached to them, so that now Black youth can get a look at virtual reality, get a look at augmented reality, virtual conference rooms, and all of that kind of stuff that you kind of seeing right with the what's the name of it? What's that video game? The Oculus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, with the Oculus though, when you put the whole headset on and you be all the way immersed in the meta space or the metaverse. So those type of opportunities that are existing, me and him are supposed to be doing some work together, because I want to be the rep here in Metro Atlanta to be able to provide a lot of the schools that are underfunded with access to technology and just STEM projects in general. Yeah. So that's what we're working on as far as that's concerned. So that's really dope. Because when you let the youth get an opportunity just to tap in and bring these things home, because we're able to give those tablets away for free and those mobile devices away for free to the community, then man, it opens up the realm of possibility in all areas of tech for them. So that's super, super dope. Where can people stay tapped in with you? Where can they follow you on social media?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I'm a tech recruiter, so I live on LinkedIn. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Bobby McNeil. BOBBY MCNEIL. You can find me there. Follow my hashtag on LinkedIn, hashtag Bobby the Builder. That's like my brand. That's my nickname. That's what people know me for. I built a successful career, so I'm trying to help people build successful careers as well. Also build successful habits and build the right mindset. So hashtag Bobby the Builder on LinkedIn. You can find me on Instagram as well. All one word, Bobby McNeil Jr. I got my direct me link there, all things about me. Those are really the main two ways to get in contact with me. So
no doubt. And just letting you know, Bobby, man, this is a international platform. So we usually have people checking in from all over the country into the show every time, man, we do an episode. So, it's really just a really dope opportunity to have you come on, especially because you've been doing a lot of traveling, speaking at a lot of tech events and things of that nature, and just informing and representing the community, man, like it's supposed to be done. So, man, we certainly appreciate you, and we thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate your time, brother, and all of that stuff, man. So, man, we definitely got to have you back. You're officially a friend of the show, friend of the podcast.
Hey man, thank you for having me, man. Yeah, I've been busy, man. I've been on the road. I got some other stuff coming on in 2024, man. But definitely wanted the opportunity to do this, man. So thank you for having me, man. And keep doing the work you're doing as well, man. You're doing great work in the community, also.
Oh man, thank you, brother. I certainly, appreciate it. And man, we definitely want to have you back. So what you got coming up down the pipe, if I don't mind asking? If you know.
Yeah, sure. So yeah. I know in a few weeks, I gotta be at Thanksgiving. In Washington D.C. The Thanksgiving Summit.
Oh yeah, you was just telling me about that.
Yeah. So it's pretty dope, man. It's a lot of different like vendors there. They got a lot of different things going on there. So I'll be doing like a kind of like an Ask Me Anything session. Have some one-on-ones with people, helping them out with their resume, some career advice. But I'll definitely be doing that. And just going down there and just representing, man, and just get together with people who are doing the work, just like we are. So that'll be the next thing. And then I'm honestly, man, Blacks in Technology, we got a whole bunch of stuff going on in 2024. So, preparing and getting ready for that too. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No doubt, brother. Well, man, we certainly look forward to having you back on the show, man, and much, much success, Black man.
Yeah. Thank you so much, man. God bless.
All right. Yes, sir. All right, family. So listen, man, we certainly appreciate you all for tuning in. This is your brother, King Cam. This is Shifting the Culture. Make sure, man, you hit the, join our community by texting STC Podcast at 888-294-2793. Make sure you tap in with us so you can stay up to date on what we got going on, man. This is a dope conversation and appreciate you. All right, family. Assalamu alaikum.
Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find the leadership of our own.
Not your average nigga, I'm a god out the hood. They can't downplay me. I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. They see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Nah. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Yeah. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we were slaves? What? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I was chosen by that man, y'all just been running game. The nerve of you acting like